Today we're going to meet a musician who's going to tell us about themselves and their music.
My name is Nora. I'm 23 years old. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a musician, but also soon to be chef. I identify as non-binary and queer. I'm not really sure how to label sexuality wise, since there's this big discussion about pansexuality, bisexuality and stuff, so I think I'll just say I'm queer.
That word can have different meanings depending on who you're asking, and this is what it means to Nora.
The word queer to me, I guess it's being out of the norm, sexually wise or identity wise with your gender. I'd say that's what queer means to me.
And this is how Nora felt when they found that word and started identifying as queer.
I wouldn't say that finding it was evolutionary necessarily. It came much later, on my discovery for myself, I guess. It just feels like a good term, a good umbrella term that is you don't have to be so specific, but people still get it, or hopefully get it.
So let's get into their music.
The kind of music I do, it depends a lot. I have 2 bands and also a solo project. So the 2 bands, they're a bit more on the rock side, I'd say. And my solo project is more alternative pop.
And this passion about music started early.
My whole childhood, I've been interested in music. My dad is a drummer, and my brother, he always listened to a lot of music, and they always showed me a bunch of stuff. It was in 7th grade I went into music class. It was after I saw the movie The Runaways that made me want to be a drummer, because I wanted to be I guess my dad a little bit, but also I thought it was badass when non-male people play drums, which is it's something today I want to kind of get away from. I feel the older I get, the less attention I want my gender to be oh, it's so cool that you're a drummer and you're not a man, because I feel it gives me pressure to that I get compared to male drummers and stuff, that I have to perform extra good just because I'm not a man. And so that's something I don't really agree with myself as to my younger self, I'd say.
Let's focus a bit on their solo project, Noradrenalin, and how they got started with that.
Oh, and by the way, all the background music in this video is made by them.
I guess I always wanted to do my own project as well, because I wanted to have full control over the creative process, but also the aesthetic process. Also because there's so much music I love and get influenced by that is electronic.
And after some time, they finally released their first songs.
I debuted December 2020 with my first single, 16 år, it's called. So I've had a lot of problems with my physical health, especially as a teenager. So I started making music in my bed. I always feel you're the most creative when you're really bored. So in a way, even if it's been really hard being at home for long periods of time, I'm also grateful, because if I wouldn't have my projects.
They talk us through their creative process of how they make music.
Usually lyrics will, when I'm going through a hard time, they will pop up into my head, and the instrumental part will come later. Some songs are really old, some songs that I didn't think would fit my bands, for example.
Their songs are very personal to them.
My first EP is very emotional. All the lyrics are from emotional periods of my life. I am interested in doing more fun songs, just being more a aesthetic thing overall, like even the lyrics too, and it's something I have to work on, because for me, like, making happy songs are the hardest songs to make, so I really want to get better at that.
But they don't only take inspiration from their own life.
My inspirations, I'd say, is other musicians, like especially musicians I grew up with, being really inspired by, like Grimes or Beatrice Eli or Little Ginger, also Alice Glass. So it's a lot of inspirations from like badass people.
So let's get back to Nora's queer identity and how that professes in their music.
I think my queerness shows the most in my solo project, because I guess that's when I'm the most free in expressing myself. But also I guess it's just me as well. So it depends on how you see it, I suppose. Like, I'm queer, so I guess it's queer music, but it's not something I actively try to convince people that my music is like queer.
But even if they don't necessarily label their music as queer themselves, they don't mind if other people do.
I don't mind my music being labeled as queer, because I feel like the community is so supportive. So if like they understand in a way like who I am, I feel like there's so much support that can be given, and especially like in the music industry, like I feel like a lot of queer people have each other's back, which is really nice, because the business, I feel like, is very lonely. There's not a lot of people that help each other out, but I feel like when it's like a queer event, they always make sure like you will be paid, and they want everyone to thrive. So, and I think that's great. And also I feel like it's kind of trendy now to like book queer artists or female artists. At the same time, you don't want to be like just a box to check, but also like if it will help my career, I will ride a wave for me to thrive on either way. So I guess in a way I'm here for the trend, as long as they don't throw us away afterwards.
So what's next for Noradrenalin?
Right now I'm working a bit more on doing, like I said earlier, like trying to work on making more like, not really pop songs, but not as like emotional, I guess, songs, just to have like more fun and like be creative in a different way. So I'm working with my partner right now on a collab EP or maybe album that is a bit more on like the witch house side, which is really fun for me, because that's something I always dreamed of doing. I feel like it's a genre that is lacking in Sweden, but also kind of the world. So I'm really excited about that.
To sum up, I asked about their dreams and hopes for the music industry as a whole.
I'd say I hope we support each other more in general, and I hope that there will be more space for like younger musicians, so they can like grow up having all of these fun shows. Because right now I feel like in Sweden there's like the small stages are dying. It's really sad to see. And also for the music business, they're only helping out bands or musicians that already is thriving, and they don't take any risks. And I feel like they have to take more risks in like what they're doing and who they want to book. And yeah, I really hope also like the younger generation will have courage to make their own shows and just to have fun, I'd say, because it's really important too.